Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So the next topic or the next chapter is we are going to learn strings. We are going to learn strings. Now, what is a string? Strings are sequence of characters that are enclosed in enclosed in that are enclosed in quotation marks. So you can use a single quotation mark, single quote. Okay, there is a start and there is a end. Okay, or you can use double quote. Right. So for example, AB, you can use a single quote or a double quote or even triple quote. Okay, the catch is that if you are using a single quotation mark to open, and you have to use the same single quotation to close the string. If you're using a double quote, close the string with a double quote. If you're using a triple single quote or triple double quote, use the same one to close the string. Okay, so for example, name is equal to, I'm using a single quote here, right? Or I can use a double quote, or I can use triple quote. Triple single quote I'm using here, right? If you see, all these three are valid strings. All these three are valid string. Okay. Now tell me what happens here. Is this a valid one?
Yes, sir.
Is this
No, no,
valid?
sir. No, no,
Yes,
no.
sir.
Why is it
No.
invalid?
Because first starting it is
Start.
started with single quote, ended with double quotes.
Right? It started with a single quote and ended with a double quote, hence it is not valid. So if we are using a single quote to start, I have to use a single quote to end. I cannot do a mix and match. I can use whatever single quote start, single quote end, double quote start, double quote end, triple quote start, triple quote end, but I cannot use start with a single quote, end with a double quote, or start with a double quote, end with a double quote is basically invalid. Okay, so repeating again, strings are sequence of characters. You have to, I'm stressing this word. Strings are sequence of characters. What is a sequence?
Order, sir.
Right? Sequence means order.
Nothing.
So there is some order in the characters. So I'll talk about it, but remember, strings are sequence of characters that are enclosed in quotation marks. You can use a single quote, double quote, or a triple single quote or a triple double quote. So you can, so generally what we have is a single quote and a double quote. So Python also supports a triple quote. So technically, since we don't have a triple quote, we use either triple single quote or triple double quote. Okay. All right. We'll quickly try this. I'll use a single quote. Is a valid string. No problem. I'll use a double quote. Right? No issue. I can also use triple single quote. Right? No problem. Or I can use a triple double quote. Are we clear? So you can use a single quote or a double quote or a triple single quote or a triple double quote. You can use any of these to create strings. Any of these to create strings. Right? But what did I say? We cannot start with a single quote and end with a double quote, or start with a double quote and end with a single quote. So that would be a syntax error. That would be syntax error. Is equal to, I am starting with a single quote and ending with a double quote. So this is a syntax error. Or I start with a double quote and end with a single quote. This is also a syntax error. So idea is that if you're starting with a single quote, you should end with a single quote. If you're starting with a double quote, you should end with a double quote. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so if single quote works for string, then why do we have a double quote? Okay, fine. If double quote also works for a string, why do we have a triple quote? Why so many options to create strings? Right? So any one could have been good enough. Then why so many options for us to create strings? Okay. Now there is a specific significance. Right, single quote and double quote are okay, but triple quote, either triple double quote or triple single quote, comes with a small feature within it. So if I want to write a multi-line string, if I want to write a multi-line string, then we want to use triple quote. Triple quote is used to create multi-line string, more than one line. So how do we do that? Hello, this is something like this. So I started with a triple single quote. I end it with a, sorry, triple double quote. I end it with a triple double quote. So in between this, I can use a double quote or a single quote, doesn't matter. So since I'm using a triple quote, within the string, I can use a single quote or a double quote. The moment I use or a triple single quote also, but the moment I use the same thing as I'm starting, that means it is end of the string. That means it is end of the string. Now let us go through this. How do I create a multi-line string? Message is equal to, what am I saying? I'm using a triple single quote or triple double quote. Hello, this is, see, the moment I hit enter, it is, if you see three dots, right? Instead of three angle braces, you have three dots, meaning it is continuing, it is continuing. So hello, this is Python class. Today is third day, something like this, and I use the same triple quote to end it. So the moment I hit, now you don't see that continuation three dots, which means it is end. So if I just say, I said print message, the variable, right? You can see the string also is printed in multiple lines, just like the way we have entered. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
So,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I just say, right. So if you, I want you to notice here, I want you to notice the print statement actually interpreted and printed just the way we have written it. That's the way we input is given. But here, if you see wherever there is a slash in, right? Wherever we have hit enter, there is a slash n. Wherever we have hit enter, there is slash n. So slash n is a special character which is called new line character. Slash n is a new line character. So when we use print, that new line would be we would take the string to next line. Okay, the slash n meaning it's a new line character. Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, the next thing I have, yes, I have defined my string, but I want to know how many characters are there in the string. How many characters are there in the string? Find my string A is equal to hello. So if I have to know how many characters are there in my string, I want to use a function called len. Len is a function which takes a value as a parameter and returns number of characters in string. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Print, I will say len of A. So what would it return? How many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 characters.
yes, sir.
This would return 5. Okay. X is equal to this is Python class. So if I have to say how many characters are there in this, I'll use a len function. But can you tell me how many characters in this here? 4, 5,
17.
6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But what are you missing? It
Space.
is
Space.
it is 20. There is a single space here, right? There is a space, there is a space, there is a space. Space is also a character.
Character.
Space is also character. So hence the length would be now 20. Now I'll just say print len of, we know I'm just passing the string directly, not assigning any variable, right? So this would give 5. Print len of this is class. As I said, the output of this should be 20. Yes, space is also character. And print len of, I'm just going to give space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have given 5 spaces. So what would be the length of this? What would be the length of it?
5.
5. Right? Because I have given 5 spaces. Every space is a character and hence it returns 5 characters. Okay. Now,
Yes.
right? So if I want to know what is the length of a given string, I would be using a function called len. Len function returns the integer. Len function returns the integer. Okay. Now I have my first name is equal to Ram and my last name is equal to Dev. So I want to join first name and last name. I want to join two names together. I want to join two names together. How can we do that? So if I want to join two strings together, I'll be using plus operator. We'll be using plus operator. Full name is equal to first name plus last name. Print full name. If you see it now, it has become a one single string, right? Now, if I want to join two strings, we'll be using plus operator. We'll be using plus operator. The same plus operator, if you use between two numbers, it is going to add them. It is going to add them. The same plus operator, if you're using between two strings, it is going to join them. It is going to join them. Are we clear? Now, what if I wanted to see, if you see here, now it has printed Ramdev without any space. Now I wanted to add some space between the first name and the last name. I want to add a space between the first name and the last name. How can we do that?
In between, we have to introduce some space over quotes.
Right? In between, we have to introduce a space between the first name and last name. So how can I do that? Full name, I'm going to say this, full name is equal to first name plus, I'm going to add space here. Now I know plus is a join operator, yes. If I place between the strings. Now, if I say what is there in F1, it is Ramdev with a space between both, with a space between both the first name and the last name. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, string and string. If I use a plus operator between two strings, it is going to join. If I use a plus operator between two numbers, it is going to make a sum out of it. Okay. Now, what if I want to join an integer and a string? So what if I want to say, right, age is equal to 30 and message is equal to, see, I'm starting with a double quote and in between I'm using a single quote, which is valid.
Value error.
No, which is valid. So yeah, I'm starting with a double quote, ending with a double quote. In between, I have used a single quote. So this is valid. Okay, this is correct. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to join the string and the integer. So if I use a plus operator between two strings, it used to work. If I use a plus operator between two numbers, it used to work. Now what am I doing? I'm using a plus operator between a string and a number. So this will result in a error. It doesn't know what to do. So if you use a plus operator between two numbers, it was doing the addition. If you're using a plus operator between two strings, it was joining the strings. Now what are we doing? We are using a plus operator between an integer and a string. And when we do that, Python cannot understand. Okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with the integer and a string, and you have placed a plus operator between both? And that is when Python cannot decide what to do, it will throw an error. It will throw an error. What type of error is it? It is going to be type error. It is going to be type error. Can only concatenate string, not string to string, not integer. String to string, not integer. It should be of a same data type. If we cannot use a two different data types, we cannot use two different data types. Now, I want to, then in that case, if I want this to be working, I want to convert my integer to string data type, my integer to string data type. So if I have to do that, we need to use a typecasting function, just like we have seen earlier. So if I have to convert a float value to integer, which function did I use? A while back, we just looked at it, right? If I want to convert a float value to integer, which function did we use?
Int.
If we want to convert an int value to the float, which function did we use?
Float.
Float,
When
right?
float
In the
one.
same way, if I want to convert an integer type to a string type, integer type to a string type, I will use. So if, for example, I have 10 and I will use a function called str and I pass my value, this is going to convert. See, now it has come up with a quotation marks around it. Now the 10 is a string. A 10 is a string. Str of a, type of X, it is going to say class string. If you see type of A, it is going to say class int, but type of X, which we have converted an integer to string type using a function called str. So this has converted the type of the data. So initially it was integer. Now the same is converted to a string and it is still the digit, but there are quotation marks around it. There are quotation marks around it. So whenever there is a quotation marks around any given value, it is of type string. It is of type string. Are we clear with it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to do the same thing. Message is this and age is this. Now I want to join this both. Message plus age was throwing an error because there are two different data types. Now what I will do, message plus str of age. This age is 30. Now it works. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So if you want to
Yes, sir.
join a string and an integer, then you have to convert integer to the string data type. Only then you can convert it. Only then you can join them. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay, right. So with this, okay, so do we have anything else? Okay, still there is a lot to do in the strings. Okay, so let us see if I want to use this. Where is, yeah. Okay, so I want to use a single quote in a double quotes and a double quote within a single quote and something like that. So I want to make he is not he is, maybe this isn't. We use a quotation mark here, right? This isn't a Java class. Now I want to use a single quotation mark here. So if I use a single quotation to start, right? So which means my string is ending here only. So there is a start and there is an end. Since I am continuing it, so this is going to throw syntax error. Okay. Now if I want this string itself as is, then I will use double quote. Then this is fine. This isn't and here I'm going to end my string. So the quote between a single quote between two double quotes is valid. This is valid. Okay, are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Right, can we try this? Same way, if I want to use a double quote in between, right? This is I want to stress the word Python, so hence I'm using a double quote. So if I have to do this, then I cannot start my string with a double quote because I'm already using a double. I want to use a double quote within the string. So then I will say I'm starting with a single quote. Hence I'm allowed to use a double quote in the string. Are we clear?
Clear.
Okay, now in this case, I want to use both double quote and single quote in the same string. This isn't right. Here I'm saying here I'm using a single quote and here I'm using double quote. Right. So in this case, if I start with a single quote, there is a single quote already within it. So I cannot use a single quote. There is a double quote already here. I cannot use a double quote. What option am I left with? Can we go with a single triple quotes? Is this valid? So I'm starting with a triple quote. I'm ending with a triple quote. So obviously I can use double quote or a single quote within the string and hence it is valid.